Hey, my name is Chris. I don't think I need to explain to anyone about the new Deadlock update and how great it is and how much fun everyone's having. I do want to make a review of sorts to just talk and spill my thoughts about the update. I have a lot of praise to give, but also a little criticism. This video is being broken into two parts. Right now I just want to talk about the overhauled mechanics, art, and the three heroes we currently have as of writing. The second part, I want to focus on the broader and more meta things, as well as the other three heroes, of course. I just have to say, when I first launched the game after the update, my jaw dropped at the title screen. The music, the atmosphere, the art, everything was just perfect. You can tell the developers put their heart and soul into this game from the moment you open it. To start off, I just want to say all of the new art is just gorgeous. The hideout is eye candy, and the new map is really starting to shape into a finished product. I think it is very evident that this update has been less about the gameplay and more about transforming Deadlock into a full game from a simple playtest. Dotting I's and crossing T's. The UI looks great. It's sleek and simple. However, in some areas, this isn't always a good thing. One example that really irritated me is the party lane preference setting, which is hidden in the team settings menu. This makes sense on paper, however it definitely is quite inconvenient to make sure the party leader has the setting enabled every time you want to play with a group. This is a bit of a nitpick, but I don't think it would be too much of an ask to say it would be best located directly from the pause menu. And also, I don't know if I'm just stupid and missing something, but the unstick hero button is just gone. Like, it doesn't exist anymore. Which would be fine if you couldn't clip into the skybox anymore, but as a pocket player I can attest, you very much still can clip into the skybox. The hideout design-wise is completely gorgeous. No notes. I love that Ava chases around Vindicta's laser and Doorman's bell. I do wish there was an easy way to clear all your items in the testing area besides changing your hero or selling each item manually, but that's just a small thing. The new map looks fantastic as well. I find it is very impressive that the artist managed to make a nighttime map with an overall dark and moody atmosphere still be very readable and maintain many of the distinct silhouettes in the game without obscuring them in the darkness. One criticism that I must levy is that while on an individual level each of the sounds are great, the overall sound design leaves just a bit to be desired. Something that not only myself but I have heard others say is that the sound design overall seems a bit cluttered. From bullets to abilities to map elements to UI to ambience to the music to the albeit excellent voiceovers, there is just too much going on. This is especially evident during larger team fights. There can be any tens of sounds all equally fighting for your attention. With all of this clutter going on, it leaves little room for team communication or the most important sounds. I have had situations where my teammates make callouts and I simply cannot hear them over the sound of everything else going on. In my opinion, the spatial sound design needs a bit of a rework or at least a touch-up, mainly toning down lesser important sound effects and increasing the prevalence of the most important sounds. Another fix for this could be to add some kind of visual sound indicator to show on screen what is happening so that you don't need to be constantly trying to listen for things. This also seems like an overall addition for accessibility to hearing impaired players. For a matter of fact, if you either don't have a good headset or are hard of hearing, you are at a direct disadvantage immediately. One last major issue before I get back to glazing my favorite mega corporation is with the matchmaking. I'm not saying I expected a major matchmaking overhaul. I don't think anyone was expecting a major matchmaking overhaul. However, with how the new heroes were handled, I have been experiencing ungodly queue times, simply because everyone is trying to play the new heroes all at once, and every time a new hero is released, there's a few hours to a day where the matches can take upwards of 10 minutes to be found, and overall, match quality for me has been very poor compared to how it was before. even with the lower player pool. The hero voting is a fun mechanic, don't get me wrong, and I understand why Valve did this, but this had somewhat hindered my enjoyment of the update. I hate to use this word, but I genuinely had some miserable games recently. I am sure are due in part to the player pool being quite limited artificially by this restriction. I will say, as more heroes have been added, the quality of my games has increased over time. I don't think I've had the same issues as I did before. However, when it was just 1 or 2 new heroes, it was quite painful trying to get into a game and gambling on whether or not I was going to have fun. Now that's out of the way, let's talk about our first 3 new heroes. The first one released was Mina, in my opinion the most underwhelming and true to form hero out of the bunch. Now this isn't a bad thing, there's nothing wrong with not rocking the boat, and Mina design wise serves her role perfectly in the game. Her design is fantastic and fits right in, if not a bit cliche or generic. Mina's kit I think could use a little tweaking. Her passive just does too much damage early and is incredibly oppressive in a bad way. I have never liked the stacks mechanic, but I don't think that will be going anywhere, so that's fine. Her ultimate and melee ability are fine. One thing that does grind my gears is her sanguine retreat. I know this take is very personal and very opinionated, but this is my YouTube channel and I can say whatever opinions I want. This ability sucks to fight. Giving her an easy and almost instant getaway means that any competent Mina player can get away from about 90% of heroes unscathed. I don't think it's OP, I don't think it needs nerfs, it's fine how it is, I just don't like it. Alright, side rant over, let's just talk about the second hero. Billy, design and character wise, might be my favorite out of the lot, if not out of the whole cast. His voice lines are great, he fits in perfectly with the rest of the cast, and I just love to hear his interactions with the rest of the characters. The artist behind Billy completely knocked it out of the park with this one. It might just be me, but playing Billy makes you really feel like he just jumped out of a comic book page. Your abilities feel impactful on a visual level and hit hard. You can just see and feel every effect and animation bleeding with style and oozing with personality. His kit feels fun to use and I think is quite well designed. When I first read his abilities, I had an initial very negative reaction. I thought he would be very annoying to fight, but it turns out that in-game it is actually applied quite well, serving its purpose and letting Billy push around his enemies without feeling like he is just controlling the fight. His knock-up and slam combo is one of my new favorite ability combos in the game, and just feels right to use. Overall, I think Billy might be the most well-adjusted and best implemented hero out of all the new heroes. I have no negative notes, and I have just been dying to talk about who is potentially my new favorite hero in the game despite some of his flaws. I may or may not be a bit biased here, as I immediately fell in love with his design all the way back in April during the Deathy leak incident. Doorman is a breath of fresh air into this game that I did not expect to be as fun, unique, and different as it was until I played him myself. His doors are fun to use and make for great trap setups. His call bell is super well designed. There's something just so satisfying about timing your shots so that they line up with enemies. His luggage cart might be my least favorite part of his kit. They are quite hard to hit and control, and giving them a 1.5 second stun on the tier 3 upgrade is just stupid. With all the things Valve did right with Doorman, I just want to know what crack they were smoking when they decided that a 1.5 second stun on an ability with a 20 second cooldown would be okay in any universe. But other than that, his ultimate, which I will be completely honest is not the most fun to fight and sometimes feels kind of bullshit to get caught in, but is still, in my opinion, more fun to fight than Moe and Crow's combo, so I will let this slide. Doorman's kit is basically all about using your abilities to line up other abilities, as well as for your teammates. This hero is just addicting, and I haven't even talked about Doorman's art design yet. His model looks great. His abilities look great, Everything about him is just great. I love his dash animation, his reload animation, and his ultimate too. Speaking of his ultimate, the design of the Baroness is absolutely gorgeous. Valve really hit the nail on the head with this pocket dimension look. One last note on Doorman is that his gun is one of my favorites in the game. It feels good to use, the sound design is great on it, and it is quite unique compared to anything else in the game. Now, that's enough of me gushing about this game for one video. Like I said, I plan to make a part 2 in about a week or so. If you couldn't tell, or if this is your first time watching me, I got a new mic. So I hope you guys enjoy not having to endure my shitty dollar store headset anymore. That's all from me. If you liked what you saw, press all the buttons, and thank you for watching.